I don't want anyone to get hurt.
Love will conquer hate.
The message of protesters seeking to silence white nationalist Richard Spencer.
I think in reality, his words have absolutely no value. They're not based on education.
Police brace for violence.
Frightened students pray for peaceful protests.
I'm really scared. It just kind of generates this feeling of uneasiness and it could get dangerous, actually, so.
Wink News begins with breaking news.
Today, hundreds of protesters showed up to drown out white nationalist Richard Spencer, who fought and won his right to speak at the University of Florida. The school president told people to boycott it. In the last 30 minutes, Spencer left the university. But security's been at the ready all day to make sure that nothing gets out of hand. In fact, here's a look. Heavily armed police arrested one man who pretended to be a media security guard and entered the area with a gun. Lots of barricades up here. Here's them walking the guy away here. Snipers were lining buildings. You saw one a minute ago with a bird's eye view of everything to make sure everyone was safe.
And Wink News with complete team coverage at 5. Wink News reporter Michelle Kingston is live at the Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, where Richard Spencer's speech just wrapped up. But we begin with Brooke Schaefer outside with the mass of loud protesters. And Brooke, take us through what you're seeing there.
Yeah, Lois, well, despite those arrests, today has been pretty peaceful, but still behind me, you can see dozens of protesters are still out here. The street leading up to the Phillips Center is still blocked off by university police. But of the protesters that I spoke with today, they said they wanted to make today about acceptance and not violence.
If brown lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back.
At this point, to me, it was either come and protest or be complicit by doing nothing.
Becky Williams is one of the hundreds of protesters, many of whom skipped work or school to march onto the University of Florida's campus.
We don't want your Nazi hate!
Speaking out against white supremacist Richard Spencer.
And my grandfather was blinded in World War II fighting Nazis, and it's a little bit ridiculous that here we are again, you know, all this time later having to do this on our own soil.
That message, one we found throughout the afternoon.
There's no room for hate in our country anymore. That ended back in World War II, and it's not coming back ever again.
We have the right to speak, but we have the right to speak too.
Outside the university's Phillips Center, protesters held signs saying "No Nazis at UF," while Spencer's group passed out tickets to the controversial rally.
I believe that this is extremely dangerous, and we could see, if we're not careful, we get war here.
And back out live now, you can see protesters still sitting outside the Phillips Center here on the University of Florida's campus. I just spoke with the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. They said that while they were ready for anything, they're thankful today didn't end differently. For now, live in Gainesville, Brooke Schaefer, Wink News Now.
All right, thank you very much, Brooke. Breaking complete team coverage. Wink News chose not to air or stream Spencer's speech. Protesters drowned him out inside the auditorium with loud chants telling him to go home.
Are you ready to talk, everyone?
Wink News reporter Michelle Kingston is live just outside the building. And Michelle, take us through what you heard today.
Well, right now we're standing outside of the Phillips Center, and there are hundreds of people out here. His event ended just after 4, and that's when his supporters and counter-protesters met right here just behind me. There was a lot of shouting and chanting at that point, along with a lot of law enforcement. Now, there are hundreds of people along the street now, many holding signs and making it known that they do not want Spencer and his followers here. You can come to. Now, as far as what happened inside of the event, it was much more of the same. There were far more people inside that were against Spencer's message. They were saying that Nazis are not welcome here, that Black Lives Matter, and that they want him to go home.
Are you finished or are you done? Are you finished or are you done?
No.
Okay. We are all allowed to voice our opinions, and the government cannot stop you. We, however, can voice over your opinions.
Now, the Phillips Center was not full. There were a lot of open seats inside there. Now, outside, again, there are hundreds of people out here holding signs. There's also a heavy police presence here. We can also hear the helicopters overhead as protests continue. Live in Gainesville, Michelle Kingston, Wink News Now.
All right, thank you very much, Michelle. And former President George W. Bush takes a strong stand against bigotry and white supremacy. President Bush spoke in New York at his namesake institute. He criticized a political system that he says opposes globalization, and he said we are all heirs of Dr. Martin Luther King.
This means that people of every race, religion, ethnicity can be fully and equally American. It means that bigotry or white supremacy in any form is blasphemy against the American creed.
And President Bush also said that, quote, bigotry seems emboldened, but he did not elaborate on that. Powerful images paint the picture of police getting ready for today. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office prayed for peace at today's event. This is before they went to work today. This picture is on the Wink News Facebook page right now. You can head there if you'd like to share it. And let's get you back out live now to the protests. Wink News is dedicated to covering this event until it is over. Any new developments, we will pass along to you right away. If anything violent breaks out, we will send you a push alert to your phone.
Also from Wink News at 5 tonight, more cops on the street to keep your children safe. Marco Island police are stepping up patrols after a man tried to lure a 12-year-old girl into his car. Police say it happened right across the street from her school along Greenview Street. This was breaking news on Wink News at 5 yesterday. Wink News reporter Nicole Papageorge live there on the island now. Nicole, any leads on catching the suspicious man?
You know, not that we've heard of yet, but this is Greenview Street, and this is where that girl said that the man tried to lure her into her car. And if you look over here, this is the back of the school she attended. Parents now tell us they are on high alert.
Scary.
Parents with kids who attend Marco Island Charter Middle are frightened for their children's safety. One dad told us he even left work to walk his children home from school today, although he only lives a couple of blocks away. Parent Lindsay Walters says that's exactly why she drives her kids every day.
I actually live really close, but I guess just feel safer picking them up.
Today, Wink News spotted several Marco Island police officers on bikes, in cars, and walking around the school to keep kids safe. It's the same route a 12-year-old girl said she was walking when a man tried to lure her into his car on Tuesday. The stranger asked her if she needed a ride home, and when she ignored him, he screamed at her. The girl ran, hid in some bushes, and called her mom.
That's a little concerning, you know, knowing somebody's out there.
The girl told officers the man is in his late 50s or 60s. With gray hair and a beard. He has a thin build and was wearing glasses. She says he was driving a tan four-door vehicle with tinted windows. Parents say they hope police catch the man soon and are now talking to their kids about how to stay safe.
You don't even think about this, something like this is going to happen. And hopefully everybody will just buddy up and nobody else walking alone anymore.
Marco Island police say they don't have enough information to put a sketch together of what this man may have looked like. We're live on Marco Island. Nicole Papageorge, Wink News Now.
All right, thank you, Nicole. Building a bond with the community they serve. Tonight, a big step forward between Fort Myers Police and many of you who live here. Police opened a new substation to help curb crime. Wink News reporter Morgan Francis joins us now live. And Morgan, what did it take to get that substation?
Well, Lois, this is a long time coming. Fort Myers Police proposed to put a substation next to Club Blue. That's where someone opened fire on some teens back in July of 2016. In 2015, they also tried to put one in Dunbar on Davis Court, but both of those never came to fruition. But today, FNPD opened two in the city of Fort Myers, and they're hoping it'll help community and police relations. Lieutenant Willie James Tellis grew up a hop, skip, and a jump from this brand new police substation.
It's changed over the years. You have a different population of people here. But I think overall the people that live here in Southwood Village are good, hard-working people.
The goal for this substation and others like it is to show a police presence in Fort Myers and give the community a sense of security. A substation is one of the many recommendations from the Free Report investigation that detailed police corruption.
The community actually needs to see the police in a non-crisis situation.
Vanessa Wesley is a Chicago police officer helping Chief Derek Diggs with his community engagement plan. She says it's about seeing the community for its potential and not its problems.
It gives the community an opportunity to get closer to our officers, and it gets the opportunity that we can buy service for them in their neighborhood.
Chief Diggs says they're not stopping at 2 substations either. He has plans to open more. Substations are not manned 24 hours, which is noted by this sign, but they say that officers will be here periodically. We did talk to a few people who live in this neighborhood. They didn't want to go on camera, but they did say they feel much safer now with the substation nearby. Reporting live in Fort Myers, I'm Morgan Francis, Wink News Now.
Morgan, thank you. 25 years ago, there was no midpoint bridge. In fact, this is a picture at the very start of the construction here. You can see no bridge, but we've highlighted the very beginning of the construction here. The bridge opened for the first time 20 years ago. Now, of course, it's one of the most used roads in Lee County. Wink News reporter Nicole Valdez is in the Wink News Live Drive right along the midpoint now, Nicole.
Yeah, Chris, and this bridge sees more than 7.4 million drivers a year, one of the busiest now in Southwest Florida. Most drivers, especially those commuters between Cape Coral and Fort Myers, can't imagine their drive without this bridge at this point. And 20 years later, it's had a huge impact, not only alleviating traffic, but also even helping Cape Coral grow as a city by itself. Now, the Midpoint Bridge opened to traffic in 1997, again, with the goal to alleviate some traffic here, but also to accommodate the amount of people looking to move to Southwest Florida. Cape Coral was just getting started as one of the biggest cities in the area, and the demand to live here was very high. So using the Midpoint Bridge for many of the people here has become pretty much a way of life. We talked to one driver who commutes to work every morning and says the growth around the bridge has even skyrocketed.
It made a big difference, made it a lot faster and easier, but then again in the morning sometimes a little traffic. Just the amount of people are here now, the structure is going up left and right.
Again, you can see right here, we're actually getting onto the bridge right now, and you can see traffic moving pretty slowly, not too much traffic out here, which is one reason why many people enjoy using the Midpoint Bridge nowadays. Coming up at 6, we'll hear from a former Lee County commissioner on why this project took 20 years just to get approved. For now, we're live in Lee County. I'm Nicole Valdez, Wink News Now.
All right, you get some great river views up there on the top of that bridge. Well, arrested for stealing from a victim who couldn't defend himself. How the crook used the cover of Irma to steal from an empty home.
And it's gross, murky, and brown when you can expect flows from Lake O to be reduced.
And a shower just popped up right over RSW, the International Airport. You can see it here just south of Daniels. This one is working its way over Fiddlesticks, heading into San Carlos Park. I'll be tracking that. And we'll see if there's any other rain on radar. And what about the weekend? Do we see rain? I'll let you know.
News, the Weather Authority.
Grab the umbrella. Spotty showers are moving across Southwest Florida right now. Wink News is the Weather Authority. Meteorologist Scott Zediker is tracking what's on radar right now.
Thank you, Amanda. We are looking at some pretty good rain right now over Olga, the River Hall community, almost all the way to Veranda. You can see that red indicating some pretty heavy rain crossing State Route 80. This is a cell that continues to move off to the north, and that rain continues in Buckingham, now leaving most of Lehigh Acres dry, but western areas of Lehigh Acres, you folks are seeing some of that heavy rain from Cemetery Road all the way down to Buckingham Road. But notice it is getting a little lighter as we approach Lee Boulevard. So that cell continues to move to the north. Also been watching some other rain areas getting ready to cross Alligator Alley, moving in toward Golden Gate Estates. These are lighter rain areas, and right now I haven't been tracking much in the way of lightning, just some downpours, all ahead of a cold front. That cold front is well to our northwest right now. You can see a few showers developing in the Gulf of Mexico right now. This evening, we do have rain chances increasing as this cold front works its way down the state. So we'll pick it up on Future Track at 5:30. By 8, 9, 10, even 11 o'clock, scattered rain starts appearing once again on radar. So when I come back, we'll talk about that cold front. When does it move through, and what are our rain chances as we work our way through the afternoon tomorrow?
A woman's found face down in the woods, the victim of a deadly hit and run. And now the search is on for the driver and the car responsible. The discovery rattled people who live nearby.
It's kind of scary because you don't expect that by your house.
And now authorities are asking for your help to piece together what happened near the intersection of 40th Street Southwest and Rena Avenue in Lehigh Acres. Wake News reporter Nicole Valdez has the breaking details.
And it was just a commotion. People were like running back and forth to see what's going on.
Mandy Vasquez lives just feet away from this crime scene.
And they said that they found a dead body over there by the woods.
Vasquez says he moved into his Lehigh Acres home just 7 months ago. While working on his car today, he says he never expected to see anything like this.
I came outside and that's when I saw the whole block. There were about 6-7 cops.
Investigators say the victim, a woman in her 20s, killed after a hit-and-run crash. It happened sometime between Saturday night and early Sunday morning, but no one called in the body until noon Sunday.
Because it makes you wonder, you know. I didn't expect this over here. I guess things happen, you know.
But there's still plenty of unanswered questions, including who's the driver. Investigators are still looking for possible witnesses to the crime, while Vasquez says he's keeping his eyes peeled.
I'm looking around more, you know, when I want to go out now in the house, you know, I look more and see what's going on around my neighborhood.
Say the car involved would likely have front end damage. Detectives are still trying to get in contact with the victim's family.
Also breaking at 5, a child targeted by a stranger in front of a church. Collier County authorities just announced a third stranger danger incident in a week. The map shows all of them, the latest at the Church of God in Golden Gate on Sunday. Wink News reporter Taylor Bisacki is live there now. Taylor, the man just grabbed a 3-year-old and started walking off?
That's right. People in this area are baffled by this guy's nerve. It happened right back here behind multiple churches in this plaza off Collier Boulevard.
Huh, okay. That's unbelievable.
People in disbelief after a man tried to snatch a 3-year-old from his family right behind this church.
First off, the fact that it was around the church and around the school, either one, is ridiculous. The situation that happened to begin with was ridiculous.
At the time, Collier County deputies say the family was taking photos behind the Church of God in Golden Gate. They say the boy's mother looked down at her phone when she soon realized a strange man grabbed her son's hand and took off.
Something like this shocks me. A break-in, a robbery, or mugging, that doesn't shock me, but something like this would certainly shock me.
That child's mother called out for help when a family friend quickly ran after the suspect. That suspect didn't let go until that friend got a hold of the 3-year-old and pulled him away.
Thank God they were keeping an eye out.
Witnesses describe that suspect in his 50s, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighing 180 pounds. He's also clean-shaven with short black hair.
People in this day and age, that doesn't make sense, some of the things that are going on.
Now that suspect slipped away before anyone could catch him. The child is okay. If you have any information, contact the sheriff's office. Live in Collier County, Taylor Bisacki, Wink News now.
And the Collier Sheriff's Office is still looking for this man. They say he tried to lure a young girl to his car. This happened on Thursday at a crosswalk leading to East Naples Middle School. They're still looking for him. And on Marco Island, another stranger danger case. Investigators say a 12-year-old was walking home from Marco Island Charter Middle School and was approached by a man in a car. When she ignored him, he screamed at her and she ran away. The girl says he has gray hair, a beard, and glasses.
And still another case of stranger danger, this time in Fort Myers. A mom says someone tried to grab her toddler in the Edison Mall on Monday. She says a man reached out to her 3-year-old daughter before she scared him off. And at last check, that man is still on our streets right now. Also, a description of the man in the most recent case in Golden Gate is right on our Wink News app. Just hit the Collier County tab, and you can count on our push alerts to update you on suspects in any of the cases that are found. And breaking right now, any minute, Florida Senator Bill Nelson will take to the Senate floor. He just filed an amendment to the bill that would help farmers right here in Southwest Florida. That emergency supplemental bill would provide an additional $3 billion in a disaster assistance for farmers who lost crops during Hurricanes Irma, Harvey, and Maria. Florida's agricultural industry sustained $2.5 billion in damage during Irma. That includes $760 million in the citrus industry alone.
Breaking new video just in shows the moment a car careened into a Cape Coral canal. A Wink News viewer just sent us this video. Watch as the car flies off the ground and into the water. In just the past 45 minutes, we watched as crews pulled that car out of the canal. Cape police say 2 cars crashed and the white one went through 2 vacant lots and into the water. This is along Southwest 36th Terrace in Cape Coral, right off Chiquita Boulevard. Witnesses tell Wink News what they saw this afternoon.
First thing I heard was a loud bang, real boom, and I went looking out one direction, and I saw some people getting out of a car, a fellow, and some ladies running in my yard, ran across to this side of my house.
Police say the driver was rushed to Health Park with life-threatening injuries.
2 people are found dead after police in tactical gear surround an apartment complex. Police found the bodies and weapons in plain sight. One of the apartments in the Gulfstream Isles community was evacuated just off of Summerlin Road and Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers. Wink News reporter Michelle Kingston joins us live now. And Michelle, what did neighbors tell you they saw?
Well, they saw police and SWAT teams rush into this apartment complex here. Officers found 2 men dead and weapons clearly visible inside.
It's usually quiet, yeah. But there's always cops around here.
Neighbors say they are used to crime in this neighborhood, but that doesn't mean they weren't surprised to wake up this morning to a SWAT team in their parking lot.
It automatically went to the trunk and just pulled out the gun. Like, I don't know what happened, but guns was drawn and they was just posted up waiting for a SWAT to get there. And when SWAT got there, it wasn't a pretty sight. Basically, that's what I can say.
Police found 2 men dead and weapons inside an apartment. They identified those men but haven't released their names just yet. We're told they're now working on getting a search warrant to continue their investigation, adding they've collected a lot of evidence already and no one in the area is in danger. Now, police say they are not looking for any suspects at this time. Live in Fort Myers, Michelle Kingston, Wink News Now.
Michelle, thank you. New video just in shows crews pulling a sailboat out of a canal. Hurricane Irma helped sink it in Cape Coral's waterway. Wink News was there while they slowly lifted out the boat. And you may remember last week, we showed it blocking boaters from getting by. You can see it right here. The Coast Guard is now in charge of the recovery efforts.
Historic investments in our environment. This is a live look at the Naples Pier. Today, Governor Rick Scott proposed more than $1.5 billion, part of it to fix the damage Irma caused to our beaches. And that's not all. If you follow me over here, he introduced a record amount of money to restore the beauty of the Florida Everglades. Almost a quarter of that will go toward making sure this can be enjoyed for generations to come. Wink News reporter Olivia Mancino spoke to the governor today about why this money is so important.
The people at the Audubon Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary will tell you.
Oh, hey, John. How you doing? I know this guy.
Trees talk to each other just like people do.
Boy, walloped. Yeah, but look at all the work that's been done.
The swamp is in the midst of repairing itself. That's what nature does, says its director.
Our old growth bald cypress trees are between 500 and 600 years old. They've dealt with 40 to 60 of these kinds of events, and they're still standing. So nature has a way of rebounding.
Though all of that is certainly true, Governor Rick Scott believes the Florida legislature can help. Today he spoke to reporters about his proposed $1.7 billion environmental budget, the highest he's ever requested.
When you think of Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary, you think of the environment.
Irma wiped out many of Florida's beaches, particularly here on the West Coast. Governor Scott is asking for $100 million to go to restoration.
As you know, we care about our beaches. We also have a lot of damage around our beaches with regard to Irma.
Lauritsen says he's pleased Governor Scott used Corkscrew to deliver his message today, saying people need to come see Florida's natural habitats to truly understand them, and that includes areas damaged by Irma.
Whether it's a second grader or whether it's the governor, our mission here is to help people to understand why these places are important.
In Collier County, Olivia Mancino, Wink News Now.
The governor's plan also calls for $355 million to Everglades restoration. $55 million goes to Florida Springs and $50 million to State Parks and Florida Forever, a land conservation program. Protecting you along a dangerous road. Changes coming a year after mom is killed walking with her baby.
Plus, soaking wet and rodent infested. Health concerns grow about piles of debris lining the streets of Puerto Rico. And
I watched my grown mother cover the strings and nurturance, fall to her knees and weep in pain.
An emotional statement from family of victims in a brutal murder. All new, never released information on how Maysak Damas killed his family after the break.
And I'm still tracking a few showers across Southwest Florida. Most of the rain east of Interstate 75. Here's one that pushed through Lehigh Acres, Buckingham, now crossing 78 and State Route 80. When I come back, we'll track that. We'll talk about that cold front. When does it arrive? I'll let you know.
Wink News, the Weather Authority.
No rain right now, but you're probably feeling the cooler air. Wink News is the Weather Authority. Chief Meteorologist Jim Farrell is here to show you if that chilling trend continues.
It will. Here's the morning lows. It'll be even cooler tomorrow morning. We replace some of these upper 50s and low 60s with 50s as cool as low 50s inland Southwest Florida, with the exception of Clewiston. A little breeze off the lake for you. So even cooler weather coming tonight and early tomorrow, and then some significant changes into the weekend. I'll have those for you coming up.
All right, thank you, Jim. Also breaking right now, the frantic search for this missing foster child. In the past 10 minutes, we received a statewide missing child alert for Jeremias Lopez Domingo. He hasn't been seen for almost 24 hours. His soccer coach last saw him at the Cape Coral Sports Complex along Sports Boulevard, south of Pine Island Road. Wink News anchor Brittany McDonald is live there now. And Brittany, are there any leads to where this boy may be?
Well, it has now expanded to a statewide search, so they are really hunkering down and trying to find this boy. You can see that just minutes ago, the Cape Coral Police Mobile Command Center showed up. They are working on this, and they are hopeful that they will find this boy. I also just got off the phone with the Children's Network of Southwest Florida, who tell me that this is very unlike this child, that he has no history of runaway behavior. They have 4 agencies on this as well. Take a look at this video from the Wink News drone showing the area investigators are searching near Chiquita and Pine Island Road. Jeremias Lopez Domingo was last seen at the Cape Coral Sports Complex at 7:45 last night by his soccer coach. He went to the bathroom during a break and never came back. Police tell me they've expanded this search. It is now statewide, but they are hopeful they will find him.
Not really sure on his familiarity with the area and familiarity with people and all those things in this general area. So hopefully he's still around and we can locate him in a couple minutes and be able to ensure his protection and safety.
And take a look at your screen one more time. This is a look at Lopez Domingo. He speaks mostly Spanish. He's between the age of 9 and 14. Police have not been able to tell us his exact age. He's a foster child with no known relatives in the area. Last seen wearing a green and yellow jersey with the number 12 on the back, black shorts and cleats. What he was wearing during this soccer game when he was last seen here last night. If you have any information that can help track down this boy, please call Cape Coral Police. I'm live in Cape Coral. Brittany McDonald, Wink News now.
Brittany, thank you. Also breaking this afternoon, a face to go with the crime. The Collier County Sheriff's Office just released these pictures to us. They show the man responsible for trying to take a boy from a church in Golden Gate and the shirt that he may have been wearing. Deputies say he grabbed the hand of a 3-year-old at the Church of God right along Collier Boulevard. The man ran off, though, when a family friend noticed. And this isn't the only stranger danger case in Collier County right now. This is a sketch of the man deputies say tried to lure a 12-year-old girl into his car. This one happened near East Naples Middle School. So take a good look, share it on Facebook. Both of these predators are still on our streets right now.
Well, speaking of Facebook, Chris, both breaking news stories affect the safety of children in Southwest Florida, and they are both on the Wink News Facebook page right now. The sketch of the Golden Gate suspect in the stranger danger and the picture of the missing foster child who is missing from Cape Coral. You can now head there, share these pictures with your friends and your family, and you can count on a push alert from the Wink News app if we get any new information here. Well, we now know the man who was killed during a hit and run last night. Florida Highway Patrol says 27-year-old Brian Marinelli was struck by 2 vehicles last night on US 41 and North Fork Road. It happened around 10 last night when he was walking in the right lane of the road on his way to work at Racetrack. The first car traveling south hit him and took off. The second vehicle, also traveling south, hit Marinelli but stayed at the scene. We spoke to a friend of his today.
We lost a great musician. We lost somebody who had a lot of talent in front of them, but he was just not equipped with the means to actually truly excel at it.
Marinelli died at the scene. If you have any information about the driver who took off, you're asked to call the Florida Highway Patrol.
Detectives are still looking for the driver who hit and killed this woman. Investigators say the driver killed 29-year-old Akira Shanks late Saturday night or early Sunday morning and then took off. It It happened right next to a Lehigh Acres school bus stop on Southwest 40th Street. You can call Crime Stoppers if you have any information that can help. That number, as always, 800-780-TIPS.
Brand new Porsche stolen from a sales lot. Naples police say crooks took 3 expensive cars from Porsche of Naples. It's on the 8000 block of 9th Street. Each car is worth more than $100,000. The crooks are still on the loose.
A deadline fast approaches for you to get help. While people still pile their belongings on the curb after Irma, there's help out there that you may not realize is available. There's a different type of pile concerning farmers. Follow me over here. Blown down greenhouses slowly being repaired, and the farmers slowly wait for funding to get back up off the ground.
It's been sad to me. Personally, driving back and forth, it has worn me out completely.
Wink News with complete coverage of Irma's recovery 6 weeks later. Wink News reporter Channing Frampton checks in on farmers struggling to get the money they need to rebuild. But we begin at 5 with Hannah Vogel, live in San Carlos Park, with a less than obvious offer for help. Hannah.
Yeah, well, take a look at this pile. There's couches, vacuums, cords, cardboard, basically everything left of the schoolies' home because Irma flooded their entire place. Now, they told me this entire pile represents heartbreak, but something today happened that turns this into happiness.
It's like walking into a nightmare.
John Schooley takes me through his home, explaining what he saw days after Irma hit.
We opened the door to find a pool of water in what was our living room.
He says Irma took everything from materials to memories.
We walked through the rooms and said, oh, this is where our daughter took her first steps, or this is where our other daughter performed this.
They say every inch of the home reminds them of what their lives used to be. But the good news, today the Small Business Administration gave them a loan to help them move somewhere else.
It's huge. I can get my family stabilized again.
The SBA says anyone affected by Irma can get a similar loan, and getting one today gives the schoolies a light at the end of the tunnel.
It's not okay right now, but it will be okay.
Now, the SBA says for your primary residence, you can get up to $200,000, but you'll have to pass a credit check and they'll come out to your home to verify the damage. Now, it could take up to a month for them to tell you if you will receive the application or not, but officials are asking you to apply because the deadline is November 9th. Live here in San Carlos Park, Hannah Vogel, Wink News Now.
And complete coverage at 5. Senator Marco Rubio shares the concerns he has about Florida's farmers.
This industry is in a lot of trouble.
Disaster relief bill the president is signing today does not include the $2.5 billion requested for agricultural aid. We brought you live coverage of Senator Rubio and Senator Bill Nelson's plea with Congress for more money on Monday. Wink News anchor Channing Frampton has more.
I'm a farmer's daughter. All of my customers, I consider them friends and family.
Carol Howard and her team at Mobley Plant World have been working 7 days a week to fix this damage.
We had 51 houses before the storm, and we lost 17.
And they're not alone. Florida's Agriculture Commissioner Adam Putnam says the greenhouse, nursery, and floriculture businesses in the state racked up more than $600 million in damages from Irma. That's why he asked leaders in Washington to send $2.5 billion toward the ag industry.
The yeas are 82, the nays are 17.
Following Tuesday's vote in the Senate, that request was denied, frustrating Senator Marco Rubio.
And so you sometimes begin to wonder, I guess you start to understand why people look at this process and just shake their head.
Along with Senator Bill Nelson.
But these families and businesses can't wait any longer. They need our help, and they need it now.
And while leaders fight for Florida in Washington, folks like Carol say they're hanging in there.
At this point, we've been just trying to do everything we can do to keep things going and salvage as much as what we can for the farmers.
And they hope help arrives sooner rather than later.
They need all the help they can get.
And Senator Nelson is working on another plan to get money to the ag industry in Florida. Channing Frampton will break down what he's working on to help, coming up on Wink News at 6. Tomorrow, you can get food for your family if you qualify. Food for Florida is at the overflow parking lot at Southwest Florida International Airport. There's a traffic alert for this area too because a lot of people are expected for this. We've posted how the requirements and the times will be working on the Wink News app. You can count on Wink News to bring you any coverage of this tomorrow. A no-show in court could lead to more trouble. The Lehigh Acres Fire Control and Rescue District Commissioner did not show up for his trial today. Robert John Anderson is charged with grand theft and a scheme to defraud. He's accused of stealing these 6 lawnmowers donated to the Habitat for Humanity of Lee and Hendry counties in 2016. The judge says if Anderson does not show up by tomorrow at noon, he will order a bench warrant for his arrest. The brother of a mass shooter arrested for child porn. Authorities say the brother of Las Vegas shooter Stephen Paddock was arrested in Los Angeles. They took Bruce Paddock from a nursing facility this morning. Officials say he is not a suspect in the Las Vegas mass shooting, and the child porn case predated the shooting. Another brother, Eric Paddock, spoke to media following the shooting, but Bruce Paddock did not. A mass gathering to shut down a proposed plan. Why so many people are against bringing more affordable housing to Collier County.
It's good. I love you, Lord. Swarmed by police after attacking airport employees. How a crazy scene at Miami International Airport developed.
And spending years to bring a breath of relief. What it takes to crack a cold case and how detectives stay zoned in for years.
Well, you woke up to cooler weather this morning. It'll be even cooler tomorrow morning, about 10 degrees cooler. Your forecast is coming up next.